Hi everyone, guess what? It is now officially 2015 and I am starting to do some more tutorials. I took a really nice break and I want to wish everyone a happy new year, and I hope your guys' new year 2015 is going to be as awesome as mine, and I'm able to teach you guys a lot of things with jewelry and quilting. But today, I'm making a bracelet called a twist in time. It's similar to one of the bracelets I've already made, and I'm not going to give any details because this is going to be kind of like a surprise. You probably will see the picture in this video at the front of it. But it's similar to one we already did, only it's got a twist in it. So, this is what you're going to need. You will need a size 11/0 seed bead, and I'm just using some Toho seed beads, but I'm going to mix these two colors because I really like them. So I'm going to mix these two purples and you'll see what we're doing. You're going to need a size 8 seed bead, and I'm using check seed beads here in a white, opaque white. You're going to need a couple of crimp beads. I'm just using these little tiny crimp tubes. You will need a closure. I'm using a spring ring closure. Oops, I need one more thing. I need something to put the closure in. And I have these little tags. No, those are gold. We need silver ones. So, instead of a jump ring, I'm going to use one of these tags. Oops, one's due. It's what you put a lobster closure on, but I think these are really tiny. They're kind of delicate, so I'm pretty sure the spring ring will close into it really well. Into this hole here, and it's nice and thin. Might be easy to get the spring ring in. I hate these kind of closures, but it's the best for this bracelet. So you will need another. No, this ain't gonna work. These are too small. I don't even know why I bought them this small. Kind of dumb. I can just go right in the garbage. Because I'll probably never use them. I'm gonna grab another jump ring. So you're gonna need a smaller jump ring just for your spring ring to close in. Then you're going to need these 3 larger jump rings. You can use chainmail rings, but these are approximately a 20 gauge jump ring, maybe even a 22 gauge, but they're not super hard to open and close. Well, they are a little stiff, but you don't want them too thick just because they're not going to go into your 8/0, and you'll see what we're doing as we move along here. I will grab another jump ring for my to close my I'm going to choose an oval jump ring. You know me, I like my oval jump rings. I like those for hooking into a closure into those. I'm going to use size 6, and you know what? This is Fireline. And you're going to need scissors, and you're going to need 2 pairs of pliers to open and close your jump rings. But I think I'm going to throw in, like I did before, you'll probably know exactly what I'm going to do now. I'm going to throw in some 3mm crystals in with this bracelet as well, just to give it a little bit of spice. Yeah, I have lots more 3mm, so I'm just going to use those ones, the crystal ones. They sparkle more. And we'll see how many we've got here that I need to divide into 3 bracelets. Okay, so I'm going to go cut some Fireline. You're going to be making a few different sizes, 3 different sizes actually. No, you're going to be making 6 pieces. So I would say cut a good, my beading mat's about, I don't know, 12 to 13 inches or so. I'm going to cut my Fireline the length of my mat. And I will cut 6 pieces, so make sure you cut 6 pieces of Fireline. And come back here, I'm going to dump my beads, and I'll see you back here in a few minutes. Okay guys, so I've got my needle threaded. I've got my beads dumped and mixed up here, and I got some crystals. These are 3mm crystals, so I'm going to use 5 in each strand of bracelet. Now, this is what we're going to do. First you're going to string on a stop bead, and I'm just going to use one of my 8/0s as a stop bead. Okay, let me just get comfortable here. Everything's just kind of too far away from me. Alright, I'm going to use a stop bead. So I'm just using this 8/0, and I'm just bringing it down to the end, and then, excuse my hands, they're really rough, but it's really cold weather here right now. And very dry. So I'm just wrapping my needle through the stop bead twice like that. Just so our beads don't fall off the end of it. Now before we continue, I'm going to give you some measurements here. Well, not measurements. I'm making an 8-inch bracelet. So for an 8-inch bracelet, I'm going to make each one of these approximately 7 1/4, maybe just a little more. I'm going to save a good 1/2 inch for my closure. You always should save 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch, just because it depends on your closure, and I'm just using a spring ring. So, and 2 little clamshell. Did I tell you you need clamshells? These bead covers, these are clamshell bead covers. Crimp bead covers. So you're going to need a couple of those. Alright, so we've got this strung on. I'm making a 7 1/2, 7 1/4 sort of inch. I'm going to just say 7 1/2. All I'm going to do is just randomly pick up some beads. I don't care what colors go on here. Oopsies. And I'm just picking up beads like this and bringing them down to my stop bead. I'm going to stick on a crystal. So okay, I'm going to make 7 1/2 inch bracelet. So half of 7 1/2 is 3 3/4. So I need to make this, and I've got to measure it. So let me get a ruler and I'll be right back, because you're going to have to measure this, and you'll see what I'm getting at here in a second. Where are you, my ruler? I know I've got a nice steel ruler. Where are you? There it is. Okay. Now I want to make purple. Look at this beautiful, beautiful ruler. Isn't this gorgeousness? Now, I need to string on enough beads to make this 3 3/4 before I add, and this is just for the first one. So we've got two. We've got 2 1/8. So I'm just going to keep picking up beads. My famous old bead spinner here, my fingers. Picking up a crystal. Alright, let's see how big this is. So I want to make it 3 3/4, so it's not quite big enough. You can see. Hey, one of my beads got away on me. Make sure you have a good straight needle if you're doing this. You get a brand new needle, because if you have a bent needle, your beads aren't going to go on here on your needle nice like that. And I just make little piles and pick up my beads. So what we're doing is finding the halfway mark of the length that we're going to make. Whoa, now I went way too far. Well, not really way too far. I need to be here, so I need to take off 2 beads. So I'm going to take off 2 beads because it's too long, and then I'll remeasure it. Pulling nice and tight, not counting my stop bead, of course. We want it 3 3/4. So we'll put it there and there. How's that? 3 3/4. Now I'm going to stick on a an 8/0 seed bead where the halfway mark is. Okay, now we're going to pick up the same amount of beads that we have in here and make the exact same length again. So I'm just going to go ahead and pick this up until I reach 7 3/4. Picking up crystal here and there. I'm going to put 5 on each one of my strands because I have 30 crystals here. So I'm just picking up, shoving them on my needle. I want to make it, this is the halfway mark, is where we stuck on this white seed bead. Okay, so, and I'm calling this, I told you, twist in time, a twist in time. I love how these just go on the needle like that. Let's check out our bracelet here. 7 1/2. So we're almost to the 7 mark. So we'll pick up a few more. I love this color mixture, how they just go on randomly. So there is 7 1/2. So I'm going to fold this in half to make sure my white bead, oh, I forgot to stick a crystal on. Aw. Alright, I'm going to take some off because I want to stick a crystal on here. Sorry. But I gotta have some bling. Bling bling. Okay, now go back to picking up a few more. The best way to make sure you have them even on both sides is by bending this, holding it here, and bending it in half, and making sure that your center point is at these are exactly halfway. Okay, this looks pretty good to me. Might add on maybe one more bead. Let me see. Let me check this out. Yep, I could use one more bead on this side. So let me pick up just one. Right. So let me even Steven these out here. We really don't want to pull them tight like that either because it'll just make them warpy. Alright, so I'm comfortable with this piece. Alright, so now take your needle off, set this one aside, and put it down and make sure your beads don't fall off of this Fireline here. And you might want to pull this down, get them even on both sides. Okay? Like that. Alright, so sit this one aside for right now. Now you're going to make another one identical in the length of this one. So I'm going to go make another one identical in this, same lengths and everything. Then I'm going to come back. Don't continue on because you got to do something different. So I'll be back. Okay, so through the magic of videos, I have 2 of them completed. Alright, so here's my 2. As you can see, I've pretty much got the centers pretty much the same, and they need to be the same, okay? For this first group here. Alright? So now all you're going to do is take your needle off and sit these aside that you're not going to let them fall off. But keep them loose because you're going to need this to measure your next 2. So now let me grab another piece of Fireline and thread it onto my needle. Okay. And let me thread a stop bead. So I'm just going to use an 8/0 as my stop bead. And I'm going to wrap my needle twice through this 8/0 because it just holds on better. Okay, now, so you've made, let me try to tell you this so it doesn't get super confusing. So we made this 7 3/4 inches long, and our middle point of this was halfway, so 3 3/4. So we made it 7 1/2. Sorry. So we made this 3 3/4 in the middle. Now, this next group, we're going to do one smaller one than this, and one larger one, and you'll see we're going to offset the bracelet. So what you don't put on your first strand, you're going to put on the second one in bead wise, and I'll explain as we do this. So I want to make this one a few beads shorter than I did on this one. So I'm going to use this as my guide, my original one I made, and from the middle point I want to take off 5 beads. So I'm going to make this bracelet this length up to 5 beads, and that will be my middle point. So let me pick up as many beads as I can. I'm making this one a little shorter, and you'll see, and the next one's going to be bigger, and it's gonna make up for what we don't pick up on here. So the 5 that we don't pick up on here, we're gonna pick up on the next one, an extra 5 beads. Do you know what I'm saying? I hope you know what I'm saying. Just saying. That's all I hear. Just saying. So I'm going to pick up crystals too as I go. So I'm going to make this one 5 beads shorter. And you'll see why when we get finished. And it's still not long enough. I'm just using the other one as a reference guide. It's not going to be completely exact. At least I don't think it will be. If it's perfect, wow! Then I'm going to make a New Year's resolution. My New Year's resolution is going to be that Ruby is always going to be perfect. Haha! Like that'll ever happen. I will never be perfect. And I'll never profess to be perfect. I make lots of mistakes in life. I learn from them sometimes. Oopsies. Don't get tangled up in here. Because the last thing I want to do is pull all those beads on I just strung. And that would be very upset. Looks like I'm going to need another crystal. Well, let's see where we're at here. Pull this nice and tight. I'm measuring. Still need a couple of more. Maybe 3 more. To make it 5 beads less. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I want to be at this purple bead here. And I want to pull my work nice and tight up to there. Pull these together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, okay. So now I'm going to put on an 8/0, and I'm going to continue to make the other side of this one exactly the length this one is. So here we go, making this one the exact same length as the other side. Oopsies. I'll stick a crystal in there. Like I said, this one's going to be shorter than the one you just made, but the other bracelet, the other half to this one, is going to be longer. So it's going to make up for what you lose in here. This is not going to be 7.5 inches, this one. Okay? Believe me, it won't be. But when we get them all joined together, you'll clearly understand. I need to stack my beads up a wee bit more here, because I don't want it sticking into my board. Alright, that should be good. Let's have a look. So all I do is fold it in half, find my center bead, which is my 8/0, and I kind of move this stop bead out of my way because it interferes with measuring here. There we go. Alright, so line those two up, and let's have a look, see. And I believe I am 1 bead short. I need to add 1 more bead. Okay, so this one's good. This one's finished. This one. Okay, so set this one aside and do not mix it with your other bracelets, your other 2 that you just made. Okay, so this one here, I'm going to string a stop bead on it to keep it from falling out. And I'm just doing this by hand. You don't really, with an 8/0, you don't really need a needle on here to do this. Okay, so now I'm going to set this one totally out of the way so it does not get mixed up with the 2 I just made. You got to keep these kind of separate because I get confused easily. This is such a simple bracelet, and I tried it last night and it turned out so beautiful. But I used really big beads just to make it quicker to see if it would work. And it worked. Okay. So I'm stringing another strand on here. I'm going to grab a stop bead, which is my 8/0, of course. And bring that down and wrap my needle through that 8/0 2 times. So once and twice, like that. Now, what we're going to do is we are going to go 5 beads past this. And that will be our center. So, we're going to go make our bracelet exactly up to here, from here to here. Don't count this center bead. From here to here, from this end to this end, without counting these white ones, just the beads in here, and we're going to add an extra 5 beads. Okay, the beads that we didn't add to our last one, we're going to add to this one. Okay, so I mixed up all these colors, and when I put them back in the containers, they're going back in there mixed up because I am not taking out separating all these. I don't have time for that. I will use them anyway because purple is my favorite color, to which I know you all know this. Okay, so this is all I'm going to do. I'm going to keep stringing on my beads, doing it this cheapy easy way. I know there's other methods of doing it this way, but I know I like to just do it this way. I'm cheap. Okay, so still have a few more to go. The thing what we want to do is to keep these 7.5 inches consistent. When you'll understand what I mean when we get to that point, but we need to keep that very consistent. And I think I just strung on too many, but that's okay. Yeah, I did. Alright, so now from here I have to hold this one up because I can't do it laying down. So I'm going to pick this one up, get that one out of my way, and I'm just going to let them fall So I'm going to pull this one down to where even with the yeah, I'm way ahead here. Alright, so I wanted to put beads on up to here, so I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 1, 2. Let me see here. I gotta make this perfect. I'll tell you. So 2, 4, 5. I need to take off 2, 4, 6. I need to take off 8 beads. I put on way too many. So let me take off 8 beads. 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright. 8 beads off. Whoopsies. How did I do that? Really don't know what I did. There we go. That's it. Wow. I got the other end of the bracelet snagged in there. Alright. Now let's add an 8-0 in that. That's a really fat 8-0. Wow. Let me use it. I want to keep them kind of consistent. So hopefully, and you can go check, hopefully with your other piece, this piece is, wow, I don't know what happened here. What'd I do? What'd I do? This is really longer. I'm not too sure what happened. Let me see here. This one here. Oh, I get it. Okay, never mind. Don't listen to me. Okay. Where's this one? This one's going back over here. That's fine. Now, you're going to finish off your bracelet and make it the same length here. So I'm just going to string on some beads here and pick up a crystal. And get this one out of my way before I knock it off. And then I'll have a mess. Alright, so let's pick up beads. Got my grandchildren coming for Christmas Eve, or New Year's Eve, because my daughter's probably going out. So we get to spend New Year's Eve with our grandkids. It's nice. We kind of spoiled them with gifts this year, but how can you not? Grandma's, that's what we do best. Spoil our grandchildren. Oops. I just keep piling them up so they go on here easier, quicker, faster. There we go. Keep pushing them together here. Using my trusty old ruler for that. Yep, I still got a bit of a ways to go. I'm probably close to finishing that round. I'm still a few beads short. I'm still 2 beads short. So let me pick up 2 more and we'll call it a day here. Double check, because I'd hate to have this lopsided. But when we put these into the crimp bead. I think I could still use one more bead. There we go. Now we're good. Now I'm going to tie off on this one. And I'm just picking up an 8/0 just so I don't lose my beads off the end of this, because I'm getting too many pieces here. So these two, the short one and the long one, the second group of two that we made, are going to make up. And to double check that, I'm going to fold, fold this in half. Alright, fold this in half. Let me push my crimp bead down, or my stop bead, pushing it down. I'm going to fold this in half and measure it. What we want is our two measurements to add up to 7.5, or whatever length bracelet you're making. So this one is 1, 2, 3, 3 and 2, 3, almost 4 inches. Hopefully this adds up to another 3, or it is 4 inches. Alright, now, and this is 1, 2, 3 inches. So we have 7 inches in total here. But that's good, because that's what we want. 7.5, sorry. So now I'm going to take these last two that I just put together, and I'm just going to tie them with a very light little bow kind of thing here, so I can keep these two groups together. Alright, now the last group of two beads, or two bracelets that you're going to make. Let's get our Fireline on here. I'll be right back. Okay, so I had to go find my Fireline. They fell off my desk here, so I have to go find them on my floor, and they kind of camouflage with the floor, so I'm just stringing it on my needle, and I'm picking up a stop bead, bringing it down, and wrapping it twice. Once and twice. And now we're going to do the same thing as we did the other one, only this time, instead of taking off 5 beads, being 5 beads shorter in the halfway mark, we're going to be 10 beads shorter. So this is going to be a tiny side. So picking up a crystal, I probably should pick up a few beads first. So this is the last two that you need to make. Pick up a crystal. And I'm just moving along here, keeping this pile big and bringing that down to my... So remember, this one's going to be 10 beads shorter. So it's not going to be too long. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So need to go a few more. And let's check this. Still need to put on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 2, 4, 7. Of course. Let me just check. Oops. We want to be nice and even. Okay, so I've put on 1 too many, but I have a crystal in here, So this crystal is probably going to be like 2 beads because it's a 3mm. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 is the crystal. So now we're going to pick up an 8/0 as our halfway point, and then we're going to string on the rest of our beads and make it the same size that you just made. So 1 crystal, 2 crystals, whoops, I'm making a mess, sorry, I'm the only one that cleans it anyway. And 3 crystals, because I only put 2 on the other side. So we have 3 crystals in here already. Going to check size. Oh yeah, still too short. Now let's have a look-see. So I kind of hold on to this middle bead, and I put on 2 beads too many. So I got to remove 2 beads. Now I'm going to pick up 2 beads just to tell me that this is the different set. The one we have our first ones, and I'm going to run my needle through both beads so we don't lose them. And now I'm going to remove my needle. So this is a different group of 3, or the last group. So that's going to be the first 2 we made is your first group. The second one, we only have 1 stop bead on there. I'm just doing this so I know. And you should do the same thing, mark them somehow so you know which bracelets which, and which ones, the shorter ones, go with which long ones. Try not to mix them up. And I'm just adding my stop bead on here, like so. So now we're going to make this one as long as this one, the very first one we made. Actually, I'm just going to tie the first 2 together with a little tiny bow, just because I don't want them to fall off. I keep moving them, and alright, there we go. We have a little tiny bow. Alright, so I'm going to use this as my guide, and I'm going to make my bracelet, this one, right up to there. And then we're going to add 10 beads extra. So, I'll show you how to do this. I know this is really, really, really confusing, but I don't mean for it to be. So this is the last one you need to make, is this one. And I'm still adding my crystals in here. Don't matter where, just random. There we go. All 3 of them on that side. I might have gone too big here. I think so. I went crazy. Did I ever? All right, so I'm measuring it with the very first one I did, and you wanted to go 10 extra beads. I went like probably 20, not what I wanted. So I'm just pulling them all tight, lining them up, side by side. So I need to go I've added 5 too many. So I'm going to take these 5 off. And now I'm going to add my middle bead, which is your 8/0. Okay, and now I'm going to just finish this half out, and I'll come back after I finish making my other end exactly this length, and I'll be right back. Okay, so let me just put these beads back. They're kind of in my way here to show you guys what to do next. Should have done that before I turned the camera on. Alright. Now, you will be needing your crimp beads. So, here are the very first 2 that we made. That one's in my way. Here are the next 2 that we made. And here is the last 2 that we have made. And I just kind of clump them together. This one here, I need to kind of open them up because I need to make sure I have, whoopsies. And of course I got a knot here. Of course you do, Ruby. Where'd you go? Got a little tiny knot. Oh, it doesn't really matter. Alright. Okay, this is going to be the hard part. Let's just keep these all separate. So, we have 2 the same size. So put them in this order, be easier for you to do. Put your short one here in front, and then your longer one. And then on the third group, put your short one in front and your longer one. Now, what we need to do is carefully take our stop beads off the ends of each one of these without spilling these beads out. So let me see why this one won't come off. I don't know what I did. I'm cutting it off. That's what I'm gonna do. Cut it off. Bye. Now we need to pick up all 6 ends. Okay, sorry. I'm confused here. Hang on. We're not picking up all 6 ends. One sec. Okay, so I'm getting confused because, see, I got too many pieces laying here. But what you're going to do is you're going to take one part of one bracelet. Oops, I gotta untie these ones. So you're going to take one piece of your first group of 2 bracelets you made. So I'm taking one. And I've got to carefully pull this stop bead off here without pulling any beads off. Okay? And I'm folding it in half like this, and I took my stop bead off. Now, sit this one here. You want to do the same thing, move the other one over because we don't want to mix it up. You want to take the smaller of the second group of 2 that you made and take the stop beads off that as well without spilling your beads. I don't know of any other way to do this, so this is the hardest. Alright, I'm pulling these stop beads off and fold this one in half with your ends together and set it here. So I've got two pieces, a normal size one and a shorter one, and now we're going to get the shorter of the last group of 3 that we put on and take the stop bead off of that as well. So I'm just going to pull the Fireline out of this here. I've got the really short one, which is the last one I made, pulling the stop bead off, and we're folding it in half. Now you want to grab all 6 ends, so you should have 6 ends of Fireline in here. 6 pieces of Fireline. And you should have 3 different lengths of bracelets. When you squeeze them all together, which I don't have them all up here, you should have 3 lengths, and try not to tangle them like I just did. They're all tangled. Yeah, we don't want this. So I'm going to carefully fix this. I'm going to move. This is really confusing, I know. Those 2 out of the way. You want to kind of keep them that they stay folded together like this. The next 2, I'm just putting them between my fingers, carefully, like that, between my thumbs. So this is what you should have. See? 3 different lengths. 1, 2, 3. Now the trick is getting these into the crimp bead. So I'm just going to cut here, because all of the ends will be even, with my crappy scissors. As you can see, it did a super crappy job on the ends. That's going to be really hard to get into the crimp bead. But we need to get this into a crimp bead, and may have to use crimp tube, just because I wish I had a fire burner, but I kind of twisted them together in hopes. I'm just twisting them in hopes I can get them in a crimp tube, a crimp bead. There we go. So I'm carefully going to push this crimp bead over top all the pieces. Oh my god, I did it. Okay, here we go. We did it. Now, this is where you want to make sure your bracelets stay separated again. So those are over here. That one's good. We want the next smallest. That one's here. And there. Before you crimp this, don't pull it super tight. I mean, you can leave a little bit of give in your threads, because if you pull it tight, you're just going to warp it. So don't pull it tight. But don't let it like hunks of thread hang either. Keep them all even. So I'm holding this like this. I'm going to take my pliers and I'm going to get ready to crimp this after I've got a little bit of give in the bracelets. I don't want them super tight. There we go. And I'm crimping this bead, just squishing it. Okay, so this side's done. Now you need to repeat that on this side, exact same way, all 6 pieces into your crimp bead. So pull your stop bead off. My second one, which is longer. And pull that one off. I'm kind of pinching it between my pointer finger and my thumb, just because I don't want to lose these. Alright, and now let's pull these last. Whoa, this one doesn't even have, wow, that didn't even have the crimp or the stop bead on it, because I pulled it off a long time ago. And there we go. So this one's a little too short. Now let's do the same thing with this. Twist it on the end. Twisting. And get ready to cut with your crappy scissors. My crappy scissors. There we go. Now I'm just going to give it a twist again. See if I can pick the crimp bead up. And get it over top of all 6 strands again. Actually, I'm going to use the needle and see if I can do it with the needle. And I did. Wow. See how easy that was? Alright, let's even them all up now, all our strands, our ends. Make sure we don't have some really long strings hanging. And get ready to crimp that bead after you've pulled your strings a bit. And crimp. Perfect. Uh-oh. I did a boo-boo. Oh no, we were supposed to put our clamps on first. Not good. You know what? Doesn't really matter, because now let's put our clamps on each end. This will just make them extra longer. Wow, my ends are so uneven. I'm just going to keep twisting them, and twisting them. And I'm going to stick them through my clam, and then I'm just going to crimp them again. Crimp the bead inside, so we have a little bit of extra length. This is not easy to do. Actually, I'm going to just squish it with these. I got such crappy scissors. I need my good ones. I don't know if that's going to make a difference, but we'll see. Let's see if I can get it through here. Make sure you've got all 6 ends in there. And I do. Alright, now the fun part is putting another crimp bead in there. This one we're going to hide inside the clamshell. Just not working. Alright, let me see if I can do it this way again. Yeah, these are kind of flattened now from the pliers. We'll see. I have to use my pliers to go over, catch all the rest of the threads. And I did. Okay, now just bring your crimp bead into your clamshell there and squish it nice and tight. So now it's double secured. You know it's not coming off because we double secured it. And now we got to cut our ends off. right to your crimp bead with these beautiful scissors. Wow, what a crappy job that did. Oh my god. That's terrible. I'll fix it up later. Alright, so turn your crimp bead and close your clamshell nice and tight. And then you have a finished end. Wow, I really have a mess here on this. I'll fix it up later. So I'm going to go and do this other one, put my clamshell on, put another crimp bead on, and then I'm going to come back and show you guys what to do next. Okay, so we've gotten that all, I've gotten that all done, and I've kind of laid them out now and flattened them over here by the clamshells, by the closures. And now what we're going to do is make sure you line them up with the first two, the second two, because then you'll have like one longer piece, one shorter piece, and make sure they're not twisted on the ends. Okay? And so the longest one should match up with the shortest one. Now you're going to take these jump rings and you're going to open one jump ring up. You're going to put your jump ring, starting with the first one, into the 8/0, like so. Oopsies, it's not going in the 8/0. These might be too thick. Shoot. Or the end is rough. I don't know. They fit last night. Maybe the white ones have smaller holes, the check ones. There we go. So you're going to put your jump ring in 1/8 and make sure it's not twisted on this end here. And then you're going to pick this one up and you're going to put this through the 8/0 on the other side. So these would have been the very first two we made. And I'm making sure they're not twisted on there. So, wow, these beads suck. These check ones. I used Toho, and that's what I probably should have stuck with, but damn. Should have maybe used them pliers are crappy garbage. I'm just going to try and wiggle this bead on without busting it. I'm not sure if I'm going to succeed in this. There we go. Now, push that bead along. And what you want to do is close this jump ring nice and tight. Like so. Wow, this one doesn't want to move too good. But I gotta make sure it's good and closed. Alright. Oh boy. There we go. Okay, so because this is finicky on me, making sure nothing's twisted. There's your first jump ring on here. Hopefully I can get the other ones on. If not, I'm going to have to find a skinnier jump ring. Now, I've got to lay these back down again and make sure they're not... so that's that one. That one's twisted, and that one goes there. Alright. Let me see if I can get this one in this 8/0 without any troubles. Sort of went in. Alright, that one did. And now, pick this one up. Make sure you put them on the right way. There, that one went on easy. and then close them up nice and snuggy tight. So pull this here. So now you have an offset group right there. So there, and now we're going to do the third one. Hopefully without any trouble. Sometimes the jump ring is too big. Well, the ends are kind of wonky. They're not perfectly flat. So I may even have to file that end down, or I'll just grab another jump ring. I may even have to use the skinnier ones. That one looks, these are chainmail ones. That's why they're thick. But I wanted a thick jump ring in there. Let's try another one. See if this one will work. Unfortunately, this one's not gonna go into that bead because the hole is so tiny that it just won't fit the jump ring in it. Darn. Probably should have tried them all first before I even made this bracelet. Yeah. Well, I'm going to change out these jump rings and I'm going to be back. I'm just going to get thinner ones. Okay, so I changed out these two jump rings, and now I'm going to put my last jump ring on. And I'm going to open up. I got a little bit smaller and a little bit thinner jump ring, so making sure that my bracelet's not twisted at the end. I'm going to stick the jump ring in here and make sure this one isn't twisted. And I'm going to come through this side. Fits just perfectly, these jump rings. And close it up nice and tight. And pull your bracelet out straight. So now you have, well, a perfectly bracelet with 3 diagonal O's on it. Isn't that pretty? So I was thinking maybe to link them together, but you really don't have to, because when you put it on, it's going to be stunning. See? So now we're just going to put our closures on it. Mine's a little big, but that's okay. Maybe I'm losing weight. If you've seen what I ate at Christmas time, there would be no way I'm losing weight. Alright, so let's open up our tiny teeny jump ring to add our spring ring. So I'm just going to open this little tiny oval one. If I didn't tell you needed this, I forgot. You need that. And we're going to add it there. And there. Just attaching the spring ring now. Close it up good and tight. And now you want to open your jump ring and open it up. Add it to this one. So now you have something to attach your spring ring to. And close it up. And I'm going to give this a little pinch down. There. And there is your twist in time bracelet. Is that not beautiful? So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial and you had fun making this. This is the start of our New Year's beading tutorials, and I'm going to see you guys soon on the next video. Have a great week, everyone. Bye.